I'm Julia Hood, and I'm the manager of School and Family Learning at Reynolda House Museum of American Art. And this video goes along with our watercolor Valentine kit and workshop from the museum, but you can also gather these materials to make your own at home. I'm going to show you how to use oil pastels and watercolor to create a mixed media Valentine design. And here are two examples where we're combining similar colors, but the heart here is in oil pastel and it's resisting the watercolor. Or this example here where the oil pastel is on the outside and the watercolor is on the inside of the heart. So I will show you what you need to do this project and how to do it.
Kits for this project were made in conjunction with a Family First workshop. To create your own version of this project, see the downloadable instructions for materials and templates. In the kit, you will receive large paper from which to cut envelopes, as well as templates for two different types of envelopes, a set of watercolor paints and a brush, construction paper to make 4 square cards and 6 rectangular cards, squares of watercolor paper, red, blue, purple, and pink oil pastels, 2 stencils with 5 different sizes of hearts, plus the positive stencils that were cut out, a glue stick, and envelope labels. If you are doing this at home and don't have oil pastels, wax crayons will work beautifully. You don't absolutely need watercolor paper either, but it helps. You will find a booklet with inspiration, including images of Valentines in the Reynolda archives, written instructions, and examples. You will also need a cup of water, a paper towel or 2, and a pair of scissors. Packing tape will be helpful to close your envelopes if you want to send them through the mail. If you're going to mail your Valentines, you'll also need stamps. Open your kit and look through your materials. You might want to play around with the oil pastels before starting on your cards. They can be messy, so maybe wear a smock or clothes you can get dirty, and be sure to wash your hands with soap as soon as you finish drawing to keep from smudging pastel onto other things. You can begin by folding your card paper in half. The thin rectangles will make a square card, the wider rectangles will make a medium-sized rectangular card. Fold and crease. When using oil pastels, put a scrap piece of paper below your watercolor paper and move your nice construction paper card out of the way. Here, I'm going to use one of the positive heart stencils, so a thin plastic heart, and place it on a square of watercolor paper where I want it to be. I'm holding the heart carefully in place with one hand and drawing around it with the other. If this is hard for you, try using a circle of painter's tape, a little loop folded over on itself, to help hold the stencil in place to the paper. I'm pressing lightly as I run the pastel across the paper. I want to leave some areas of white in between the bits of color, but color it enough so that I can see the outline of the heart. Now we're ready to paint it. Your watercolor set will come with a brush. Take the plastic off the tip and throw it away. Wet your brush with water and mix the water into the color you want to use. Add more water. You may need to do this a few times to have enough paint ready to load your brush. Spread paint over the entire watercolor paper, adding more water and paint as you need. Work from one side or a corner of the paper to the other so that you will always be working from a wet area towards a dry area. This will help the watercolor be more even. Then let it dry. Now, let's use a negative stencil where the heart is a hole that's been cut out, so that the heart is where the oil pastel is. I'm using just one color of pastel and one color of watercolor, but you can do 2 or 3 colors if you'd like. Again, lightly color with the pastel. Clean your stencil by wiping it with a paper towel. Think about what colors will go well together. The first example used 2 warmer, darker colors, red and a warm purple, and the second used a cool, light blue with the warm color pink. You can also use multiple stencils on one card. Make sure to clean your stencils between colors and clean your brush before you change to a different watercolor color. After your watercolor squares are completely dry, it's time to glue them onto your cards. Apply glue to all edges. I'm putting my square over a paper towel, so it's okay if I go over the edges a little bit with the glue. Place your square on the card where you'd like it to go, then put a paper towel over the card and press and rub to hold the watercolor card in place. When you are done, you might want to stack your cards between paper towels or wax paper and stick them under a heavy book to help flatten them and help the glue really stick. Write a message inside each card. Finally, we also included paper and templates to make envelopes for your cards. If you want to make more envelopes, you can use magazine paper, cardstock, old calendars, or other papers. You can make regular envelopes or fun little square envelopes. Start by cutting out the templates. Notice how I place the envelope at the very edge of my paper to have a large piece of scrap paper to use for other art projects. Cut out the shape, then fold in the sides, one side at a time. Note, if you want to mail a square envelope, I suggest putting it inside a larger rectangular envelope to mail. Otherwise, square envelopes require a little extra postage. For the rectangular envelope, cut it out, then fold in the sides. Glue the bottom flap to the small, thinner sides. In your kit, you have a few labels that you can put onto your envelopes. These are really important to use if you are using the darker paper, like purple and red, because an address on a white label will be easier for the mail carrier to read. If you are going to mail your envelope, use packing tape or other sturdy tape to seal the envelope after you put the card inside. Share your creations using #ReynoldaAtHome. You can find kits based on Family First workshops in the Reynolda store, or find links below for the PDF instructions and printable patterns if you'd like to make your own without the kit.